Good evening, everybody. We would like to call our third night
Good evening.
of the 2026 budget work session into order. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd. And here in the Nat U Hill Room, as we start our meeting, we got a lot of chit chat. Order in the court. So that we have present to my right here, we have Councilors Marty Hawk, David Henry, Peter Iverson, and Councilor Liz Feidel. And we have a quorum, so we will go ahead. Not here just yet, our council members, Kate Wilson, Trent Decker. But we have a quorum, so again, we'll go ahead and get started. So next up on our agenda is the adoption of tonight's agenda. Does anybody have a wish to add or make any changes to tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, since we don't have anybody present virtually as of yet, and we have a quorum here. All those in favor of adopting today's agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, so next up again is the work session procedures. Again, nothing is final. This is just to hear budgets budgets being presented by different department heads. And again, as we've done before several times here, those that want to make changes, you can or reduce, but we cannot increase. We can do so. And then how we've been doing so far, I think has been working well with Councilor Iverson making the motions to make the amendments as we go. So I think I want to go ahead and continue to keep doing that. Again, because this is not final, we can always open up and have those conversations later. Again, everybody has timed sessions. So we will, as we did last week, stick to those time sessions. So if you have 15 minutes, again, you will have that information presented all around the TV screens here. And when your time is up, we would tell you that your time is up. And then councils will stick to task and ask questions that are related to budget, or you will get a friendly reminder that you should ask that in a different setting. So let us move along accordingly and expeditiously through our items. And next up, we will have an overview of revenues in our 2026 expenditures. And so just as before, I'm going to give our auditor, Bree Gregory, a chance to go ahead and present that information. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Council President. The past couple sessions, we've done pretty well, and we've reduced the budget by $838,744. So that's good stuff. We still have more work to do. However, we need to get through today and tomorrow and then reassess. I think we should wait and take a look at the 4Bs tomorrow, but I am thinking we'll just kind of evaluate at that point when there's a greater change to review. Right now, you're gonna look at the same thing we saw last week, essentially. So are there any specific questions, though, as we've gotten through so far?
How much did you say that we've cut so far?
Yeah, $838,744.
Okay, and I think I saw my purview questions or hands raised. So I'll go down the line here. I'll go to Councilor Iverson and then Councilor Hawk.
Based on your calculations, what is the 2026 budget deficit that we're trying to make up as of right now?
Okay, so the total for all budget projection funds, the total requested budget is now $136,214,161. And then the total deficit, again, this is not just the levy funds, it's all the budget projection funds.
All of them.
Is $8.5 million. Okay. So, and we can reassess, and I can give you the total for just the budget projection funds, but overall, we still need to have enough cash to support our budget.
I think it's important to speak that number into the meeting just so that folks know where we're trying to go.
Absolutely.
So I have a question about that 8.5, nothing long. Is it likely to change, the 8.5 million?
Well, if you make reductions, yes.
Oh, but no other way would it change?
No, unless we get a windfall of revenue or so forth.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Counselor Hawk.
I wanted to know, I thought we ended up now with the bottom line.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, pull your mic a little closer.
Right, okay. As we know, we really have to be watching the general fund. That's where we keep our eyes on, general fund. And so where we're now, we were down to leaving cash at 13 million something, but I don't think that's high enough. And so, and as a reminder to the public, that 13 million isn't like, oh, well, now we can go spend 13 million. That has to carry us through until mid next year using your property tax revenue. Of course, we'll still every month get in income tax, but it still needs to be a great deal higher than 13 to get us through. So how much are you looking at where we stand right now that we need to reduce so that we can get it up to the level that you're more comfortable with, which I think this year we're going to end up with 20-some million carrying through at the end of the year. So if we reduce it down to 13, we know that's not sustainable.
Right, and just a reminder, that's projected, that 13, I think is 0.7, is projected for the end of 26.
Right.
So end of this year, I think it's projected at around 23 million. So, I mean, ideally, every meeting I've been telling you, the total deficit number for all of the budget projection funds, not just the levy funds, because ideally, we wouldn't have a deficit budget and then things would be smooth. And obviously, we wouldn't be dipping into reserves, which would be the ideal situation. And that would allow the general fund operating balance to be higher as we worked through it and we're able to reduce that budget.
So you don't have a number that you're shooting for?
Well, yeah, ideally we would still reduce it by 838,000. But that doesn't, I mean, we have about 1.2 from self-insurance that we're considering reducing, right, from the 18,000 per position to 16. I believe that's still on our radar. And I know we're still going through and considering budgets. So there's a lot to consider and we still have some things double budgeted. So that number is high, but it's not as drastic, I guess, as it seems. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you very much. Anybody else over here have any questions? Nope. I'm looking over here to my right or left, my other right. Okay. All right. Thank you again for that. Next up, we will go right ahead and jump into budgets. And so first up on deck, we have the Recorder's Office.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1000-0004, County General, with a category request of personnel $353,777, supplies $0, services $0, and capital $0 for a total budget of $353,777.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, and we have our recorder, Amy Swain, here. Welcome.
Good evening, counselors, everybody else. Our budget for the Recorder's Office is usually straightforward. We are under statute as to what the revenue that we bring in. We actually are one of the offices in the county that brings in revenue and helps fund the county budget. The only thing we take out of County General is some of our salaries. So I would ask that if you have any questions, please let me know about those. Otherwise, like I said, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. And I always like when you present because it is very much pretty straightforward. All right, looking over here to my right, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Swain? No? Okay. Looking over here to my left, any questions?
I don't think it's a question, but from what I can tell, and I'm still new, it looks to me like it's less than what last year's adopted budget was. So that's
Sorry, that's because of the self-insurance.
okay. So that's the amount we're talking about. Okay, thank you.
Right now, it's budgeted flat except for the employee increase COLA that you guys so graciously decided to do upfront at this part of the budgeting, which we all appreciate.
We like to hear that. Thank you. Okay. It was so easy that nobody has any questions for you. Oh, and then until
Ruin that.
And
Councilor
then there's
Decker.
Trent.
These days I ruin everything. My question to you, last year I remember you came in and helped us a lot on the COLA, if I remember right. You helped us with, I think, taking a little bit more in the perpetuation lines. Am I remembering this right?
It was the year that we wanted to do the higher increase across the board to bring our county up consistent with other counties. And the recorder's office wanted to be a team player. And so, yes, we did help with the perpetuation fund. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And seeing no questions or else for this particular item here, can we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you. And next up is item B, the identification security protection budget.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1160-0000, Identification Security Protection, with the category requests of Personnel 0, Supplies 0, Services 18,000, Capital 0, for a total budget of $18,000.
Second.
Okay, what would you like to add about this?
So this fund is created by statute for the purpose of redacting Social Security numbers and other personally identifying information in the records that come through the recorder's office. The money budgeted goes for redacting software, and it's used exclusively for that. So I would ask that you pass this line item as requested.
Thank you. And looking over here to my right, seeing if anybody has any questions? No? To my left, Councilor Decker.
Does this keep creepy people from getting a hold of our public records and using that to prey upon our citizenry?
So things like DD-214s are not available to the public, the military discharges. Most other records are public records. There are systems in place through the auditor's office where certain groups that are created by statute can protect their information. The Attorney General's office also has an address confidentiality program for victims of domestic abuse and other things like that, where their information is protected. So there are safeguards in place. It's not foolproof, but we do what we can. We also have in the recorder's office a free offering to all property owners in Monroe County called Property Watch that people can sign up for. It doesn't cost the county anything as well. It's through one of our vendor partners, DocsPop. And so if people go to the recorder's page on the Monroe County website, there is a link to the Property Watch where they can sign up for free alerts when anything is recorded that matches their name, legal description, things like that. I would caution, though, that if you live out in the county and you have what's called a meets and bounds, that's METES, meets and bounds legal description for a certain township, range, section, you may get an alert when something is recorded on a neighbor's property because you are in that same section, range, and township.
I remember when going to get my grandfather's DD-214 information that we needed for something. I remember the process that your office used. I was really impressed that not just anyone's going to walk in there and get his stuff and go do things. So thank you very much.
Yes, and we work very closely with the state Veterans Office as well as our local VSO.
Councilor Wiltz.
Yeah, just looking at the fund and expenses to date, it looks like nothing's been expended this year. Am I reading that right?
We get billed in one lump sum by our software company because We also work on back files where we're trying to digitize old property records. We're back with all records to the early 90s, and we're back with deeds into the late 60s. And so we continue to work on that project, and that back file project does include redaction as well for those older documents. So I hope that answers it.
Thank you.
I saw Counselor Fidel's hand. Oh, okay. All right. Looks like we've exhausted all questions on that item. And can we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry? Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Awesome. Next up, we got item C, County Elected Officials Training.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1217-0000, County Elected Officials Training, with the category requests of Personnel 0, Supplies 0, Services 18,000, Capital 0, for a total budget of $18,000.
Second.
So again, this fund is created by statute and funded by the Recorder's Office so that certain elected officials, primarily in the offices that have term limits, as well as a couple of others, are able to get training for state-called meetings and things that relate directly to their office so that the continuity of government is smooth. Last year or the year before, the state also recognized that some counties are able to go above and beyond those particular offices and changed the statute, amended it so that if there is enough money left over, then members of the county council are also able to use this training fund for purposes of education and staying up to date with what's going on. So I had increased the budget by $2,000 last year with the addition of county council. We did not use all of that money, and so I'm scaling it back to the 2 year ago amount of $18,000. The fund is healthy though, so if additional appropriations would happen to be needed, that would not be an issue.
Sounds good. Looking over here to my right, Counselor Henry.
Yeah, hi, Amy. So, what is the amount in the fund right now?
That amount,
We know the amount in the fund. Yeah.
I'm sorry, let me give you that.
I always defer to the auditor because they have the most up-to-date numbers.
I'm just wondering, given that travel and training has been on the mind of council in the past few meetings, if this isn't an opportunity to tap into what's there for elected officials. We've been observing elected officials asking for travel in their own account lines, and I'm just kind of curious what we have.
Yeah, it should be under 1217. It's created specifically for that.
Yeah.
The State Board of Accounts has state-called meetings for each of the offices and goes over information specific to that office. So you're absolutely right. It should be coming out of this amount rather than county general.
Fund balances as of today, $76,722.
Thank you for that. I may absorb that as we get through the next few days, and want to revisit, I think, some of the travel that's been proposed by other elected officials. Clearly, there's an opportunity here. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else over here? Nope. Looking over here to my left, seeing shaking heads. So may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. And it looks like last up is item D.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1189-0000, Recorders Records Perpetuation, with the category requests of Personnel $118,914, Supplies $69,100, Services $161,200, and Capital $10,000, for a total budget of $359,214.
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
So normally this fund would not be up for council discussion, but it makes sense to bring my sworn statement into the discussion at budget time so it's not overlooked and it's relevant to what we're talking about. There is a code, Indiana Code 36-2-7-10.2B, that allows that if there is, the technology is up to date in the office and there are sufficient funds in the perpetuation fund, which is earmarked specifically for the preservation of our documents. If there is sufficient funds in there, that a portion of that is designated, which is why I submitted the line items, the budget for 1189, can be used for things other than that, which includes, we do all of our contracts out of this amount. We do all of our office supplies out of this amount. Everything for the recorder's office comes out of this budget because of the sworn statement, with the exception of those few salaries that come out of county general.
All right. And looking to my left over here, anybody got any questions? Councilor Wiltz.
I see that, the estimated revenue is $260,000 for next year. The budget obviously is more than that. What's the fund balance? Is it carrying over and doing well? Because this is a great plan. Let's, keep putting things in this fund. That's great.
It has been, and I'll defer to you, but I'll give you a minute. It has been doing well. Because of the fluctuations in the federal interest rate, which affect mortgage rates. The fund, since COVID, we had a big refi boom during COVID, 2020 of all years, at like interest rates of 4 point something. They're back up to 6 and expected to go back down, especially in 2026. The last meeting of the Federal Reserve, they did not do a cut. They held steady. And so there's either additional holding steady or cuts expected, which will, again, affect mortgage rates, which affect our office. So once mortgage rates stabilize, inventory will start to become more readily available, so people will be buying and selling again. There will be refinancing from the people who bought when the interest rates were so high. All of that translates into revenue that comes through our office for the county.
And Miss.
If you're interested, the fund balance is $1.7 million.
Hey. I'm in.
Yes, Councilor Iverson.
So given what you just said, but also the uncertainty in the bond market and what the Fed is going to do or not do, or what Jackson Hole conversations are going to be, I mean, would you be amenable to moving other positions from your general fund into this fund? Or what's your thinking around that?
Again, the recorder's office wants to be a team player if there's a demonstrated need. I really liked how every department in the county worked together to make sure that 2 years ago we brought up the cost of living adjustment plus a small increase in wages. I've already had one member of my staff that moved out of the county for a lower cost of living, so I appreciate the council really working with all of us to get us to pitch in and do those. I'm open to that if there's a demonstrated need and everyone else wants to pitch in.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I mean, given the strong fund balance, given the, I do also take into account what Councilor Wiltz was saying, that the expected revenue is underneath what the expenditures are going to be. So it's worth thinking about. I don't think I want to make a motion right now, but I do want to look more into this.
One of the things that is on my agenda as I've learned more about what's possible is digitizing and indexing the back files, using current technology to move that along at a faster pace so that those records are available to the public. And so that, again, is the purpose for which the fund was created, was the preservation of those documents. And we've got a lot of documents. We go back to the 1900s. And so 1800s, 1900s, 1800s. And so there are a lot of documents, and it's slow going right now. It would be nice to be able to do a group of that. Plus, the fire suppression system in the recorder's office is water. In archives, it's a dry fire suppression system, but in the recorder's office, it's water. And so making sure that we have those documents, which are most often used, which is why they're in the office, making sure that those are digitized and indexed and available to the public is crucial.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Councilor Hogg because we are out of time with this one. So I'm gonna go to Councilor Hogg, and then I know Ms. Turner King had something that she wanted to add to it, and then after that, we'll ask for a roll call vote. So Councilor Hogg.
Oh, okay, just wanted to make it clear, unless the rules have changed, that particular fund, that's up to you. That's not something we can order you to do or move things in there. That's up to the recorder to make that decision. Is that still that way?
Yes, Fund 1189 is at the discretion of the recorder.
We can ask you as a pretty please, but you don't have to. Not very much unlike the other funds.
That's a good point. All right, Ms. Turner King.
And just real quick, procedurally what happens each year is after the recorder presents the sworn statement, the council will adopt an ordinance. So that will be on the September regular session meeting, acknowledging that you received the sworn statement and you acknowledge that you received the statement, that the balance is healthy, and that the recorder can use it for other purposes.
All right, so we'll see you soon. All right, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry? Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up is item number 6, which is the prosecutor's office.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1000-0009, General Prosecutor, with a category requests of $2,611,906 in the personnel category, in the supplies category $11,500, in the services category $124,550, and in the capital category $0, for a total budget of $2,747,956.
Second.
Welcome. Hello.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. I really appreciate your hard work on budgets this year. The prosecutor's office budget requests have not changed substantially from 2025's, as we are mindful of the revenue constraints that the council is facing. But before I discuss my budget and answer some questions, I just wanted to give some brief comments on the work in our office recently. So speaking first to our day-to-day, our raw filing information. From January 1st to August 31st of this year, we filed a total of 2,181 cases. That breaks down to 1,275 misdemeanor cases and 902 felony cases. This brings misdemeanor filings up 12.3% from 2024, the same time period in 2024, and felony filings up 22.6% from the same time period in 2024. This year, we've had so far 240 cases enrolled in our pretrial diversion program, which keeps people from getting a conviction, but also keeps the courts sort of free from dealing with those cases. So that's a 17% increase from the same time period in 2024. As of January 1st, 2025, we have implemented paperless case processing in the criminal division of the office. The child support office was previously paperless. This creates efficiencies in building files, accessing them within the office. It establishes better documentation of our discovery compliance, and it saves some paper and some physical space within our office. I'm going to talk about trials. We've had 9 trials that involved 9 attorneys in the criminal division of my office since our last budget hearing. I'm able to report that all completed trials did result in conviction. So we had 4 bench trials, meaning that a judge heard the evidence and rendered verdict. In Judge Fawcett's court, there was an operating a vehicle with Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance or metabolite in the blood trial that resulted in a guilty conviction. A level 4 felony burglary with a habitual offender enhancement that resulted in a conviction. Judge Dekoff's court, there was an operating while intoxicated, endangering a person, a bench trial that resulted in guilty verdicts. And that one was with a sovereign citizen, which if you have not had the pleasure is a real treat. In Judge Houghton's court, there was a Class A misdemeanor criminal mischief bench trial, so that's property damage over $750 that resulted in a guilty. As for jury trials in Judge Fawcett's court, we had a level 6 intimidation, Class A misdemeanor battery, and Class B criminal mischief case that resulted in guilty verdicts. Judge Dekoff's court, there was a level 6 possession of methamphetamine and Class C misdemeanor possession of paraphernalia that ended up in a guilty verdict. Senior Judge Don Vandermoor out of special judge, he's not a senior judge. Special Judge Don Vandermoor out of Owen County presided over a jury trial in which a very challenging pro se defendant with a significant criminal history was convicted of 2 counts of intimidation as level 6 felonies. And then in Judge Houghton's court, we had a jury trial that resulted in a conviction of reckless homicide as a level 5 felony. This was a lesser included offense to murder, which was what we had charged. And there was also a guilty verdict on carrying a handgun without a license as a Class A misdemeanor in that case. We did have 1 mistrial, unfortunately. We had a witness who testified to some evidence that was not admissible, and so that did result in a mistrial, and that case is rescheduled to be tried. As for bigger projects, as you all know, for 3 years we've been involved in a racial justice and transparency study that's funded by Arnold Ventures. This is in partnership with Indiana University, as well as the Monroe County branch NAACP. I have just received and provided my feedback on the final report. So it's in the editing phase. We should be able to release those findings to the public shortly. Additionally, the data dashboard will be available on my county website, and hopefully that will provide ongoing data. It's getting fed on a regular basis, so you'll get a constant update on sort of what our racial, gender, and age sort of incoming, filed, and outcome cases are, what those are. And then additionally, just the number of cases we receive from referring agencies, the numbers that we file, how long it takes to dispose of them, things of that nature. We anticipate being able to implement many of the policy recommendations relatively easily. We're going to work on that. And the nice thing about the dashboard being constantly fed by data is we will be able to sort of check our work and see if we're having an impact. Unfortunately, grant funding is sort of vanishing from this sphere, so I would love to continue to fund ongoing research projects, but it's just going to be dependent on what we can find available to do that. But I am happy that at least we've come up with something to look at our data on an ongoing basis. So those are the bigger things that I just wanted to make the council aware of. And so without further ado, we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the budgets. I know that it's the council's goal to make only cuts and no increases, so I will try hard to comply.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm gonna look over here to my left and see if anybody has any questions related to this particular item. Yes.
So one thing I saw on the repairs and equipment vehicle section, it looks like it's been budgeted for $1,000 for a few years, but I don't see any expenditures.
That's a good eye, Councilor Feidel. We could probably reduce that fund to $1 just to have it open, and if we need it, we can transfer funds there.
Down to $1.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can you remind me of the phone number?
Let's see. Account 30004.
Thank you.
I'm gonna look over here to my right. Council Hawk.
Yes. Could you tell me, do you have any vacancies now?
I currently do not have any vacancies. I do have one person who's on a workman's comp reduced workload, but I am fully staffed at this time.
Councilor Henry.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So the maintenance line item 30025, the 5-year average was about $2,500. It's a $5,800 for this year. What's the anticipated maintenance that's behind the increase?
Most of that pays for the parking of our county-owned vehicle. And so a reduction down to 2,500 would probably be okay.
Okay. Thank you. Let's mark that one. Thank you.
Okay.
It also pays our shredding, sorry. I knew there was something else I was forgetting.
Do you have any sense of how much you've expended in 25 or this year?
No, I don't. I'm surprised it's not on there because I'm sure we've.
It says 22.
Oh yes, there it is.
$22.94, so
$22.94.
$2,300.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I don't have it in front. Yeah.
So
I'm missing-
2,500 might be a little low, to be honest, if we're not to the end of the year. I'd be more comfortable with 3.
Get to 3. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Gonna see. All right. So because it seems like there is some movement here, I'm gonna look to Councilmember Iverson.
Council, I move that we set line 30004 repairs equipment vehicle to $1.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion on reducing this line item to 0? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep doing that. Dang it. To $1. Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of reducing this line item to $1, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right.
Council, I move to set line 30025 maintenance to $3,000.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this motion? Well, just to say thank you for that. Okay, all those in favor of reducing this line item to 3,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna look to our council office staff here. Oh, because I know we gotta do a little bit more of a calculation of and read into the records of what that new total would be.
The personnel, $2,611,906. Supplies, $11,500. Services, $120,751 for a new budget total of $2,744,157.
Okay, so now that we got our new total, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
No.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
6-1.
Beg pardon, 6-1.
Okay, all right. Next up is item B.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1000-0009, General Child Support, with the category requests of personnel at $1,300,434, supplies at $4,000, services at $45,800, and capital at $0, for a total budget of $1,350,234.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Go ahead.
Thank you. The only increases we've made were due to the suggested raises and salary steps. As a reminder, all expenses from this fund are reimbursed by the state through it's passed through from the federal government at approximately 2/3.
All right. And looking to my left to see if anybody has any questions. Councilor Deckard.
This is an office that I think sometimes we just take for granted and don't really talk about. But this is literally your office tasked with the effort to get people in this community to pay for the support for their children, which they are not doing, right?
Yep. So the Child Support Office is charged with establishing paternity and support orders in cases where those have not already been taken care of. And they're specifically mandated or required to do it if that family is receiving TANF benefits. But they can also do it for anybody in Monroe County who needs that support. So if somebody out of wedlock has a child and needs to work on establishing paternity or getting a child support order, they can approach the Monroe County Child Support Division on this case.
Over here and seeing if anybody has any. Councilor Iverson.
Do you have any update at all on the future of the federal funding that comes through this line?
I have not heard anything. I'm on the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council Board and the Legislative Committee, and I have not heard that there's any expected changes to.
All right. No news is good news, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Typically.
Typically.
Councilor Wiltz.
Yeah, so I recognize that if we reduce something in this fund, it's only counting for like 1/3 of what it looks like. To that, though, there is looks like a pretty long history of not spending the extradition.
Okay. I see that. Well, it looks like in 2024, got it. We didn't expend it. Okay, got it. Yeah, I would see that it has been rare in recent years to extradite somebody. So just, for education, that's when we have to bring somebody from out of state into our jurisdiction. Sometimes this fund is used to pay a Monroe County Sheriff's officer, a deputy, overtime to go collect somebody. Sometimes it can be used to pay a private company. Sorry, my light keeps going on and off. Yeah, it looks like we have not used it that much in the last few years.
Would you be comfortable lowering it?
I would be comfortable with that, with the understanding if we do need to extradite somebody, we'll come back. But I don't want to zero it out so that we can move quickly, but.
What if we lowered it to $2,500? That allows you to probably afford one person, and then, you can say, hey, we used it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I move that we lower line 30038 to $500.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of lowering this item to fund number 30038 to 2,500 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, any other further questions on this item here? And seeing none, since we now lowered that, Michelle, if you can just read into the record the amount.
Personnel, 1,300,434. Supplies, 4,000. Services, 45,800 for a total budget of 1,350,234. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
Okay, I was like, wait a
forgot,
minute, that's the
I
same one.
forgot to, you
No,
know,
you're
you
fine.
gotta
It's
put
okay.
that in there.
It's okay.
I highlighted it, but I didn't
It's
change
okay.
it. So now the services is 38,300 for a new total of 1,342,734.
Okay. All right. And so can we please have a roll call vote on this?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. Now we are at item C.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1155-0000 extradition with the category requests of personnel $538, supplies at 0, services at 0, capital at 0 for a total budget of $538.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is our extradition fund, which is what it sounds like. We use it to, on rare occasions, when we need to pay a Monroe County Sheriff's Office deputy to transport somebody from another state to our jurisdiction for prosecution. More often than not, we actually end up using private companies to do this transport rather than paying a sheriff's deputy to do it. We don't use it often, I'm sure the council has noticed, but it is one of those things that's good to have out there just in case. We did have a revenue this year of $55 to this fund.
Wow. Okay. All right. Looking over here to my right and seeing if anybody has any questions. No. Counselor Deckard.
How does one get revenue in such a thing?
So when we do extradite somebody from another state, we try to request when they're convicted a restitution order for them to pay back the money for extradition. And so it is rare because a lot of times when we're extraditing, we're also incarcerating or they don't have money, but we do occasionally collect on those restitution orders.
Okay. Any other questions over here to my left? Counselor Wiltz.
You wouldn't happen to know what, like, the balance is in that?
I think it's around 1,500.
You know, 3,717.
Oh, nice. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And if there are no further questions, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk? Counselor, sorry, was that a yes? Oh, thank you. Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. Next up is item D.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1170-0009, Public Safety Lit, with the category requests of personnel at $124,976, supplies at 0, services at 0, capital at 0, for a total budget of $124,976.
Second.
Okay. You can
All
go.
right. Thank you. The only increases to this budget request are those for suggested raises and salary increases. The pay balance, this pays the balance of 2 grant-funded positions within our office and the FICA and PERF. So we have the STOP grant for crimes against women that covers our felony domestic violence deputy prosecutor and our sex crimes deputy prosecutor. So this pays half their salary for FICA and the PERF.
Okay. Anybody over here to my left have any questions? Counselor Wiltz.
Actually, what was, I don't know, what was the total that you just read? Because I might be looking at the wrong thing.
I just read, this is item D, $124,976. This is for Public Safety Lit for the prosecutor's office.
I skipped a page, thank you.
All right. Looking over here, anybody got any questions? Nope. Okay. pretty self-explanatory, I guess. May we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk? Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Okay. And next up is item E.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 2503-0000, Diversion User Fees, with the category requests of personnel, $92,861, supplies, $0, services, $10,550, capital at $500, for a total budget of $103,911.
Second.
What would you like to tell us about this one?
Sure. So this fund it's funded by user fees for our office-run pretrial diversion program as well as our infraction diversion program. And the only changes that we've made are due to suggested raises and salary steps inherent in the county pay structure.
Okay. Anybody over here to my right have any questions on this item? Counselor Hawk?
Yes. Is this the, where you move some folks out of that fund? This is the fund that is increasingly less revenue over time. Used to
Correct.
be a great deal, and I've been told that's because there's, that we no longer have, if somebody leaves the jail, they don't always have bail. Is that right? I mean, you know, people say anything, so I'm just asking you. Why do you suppose this revenue dropped off so far?
Oh, I can tell you why. So way back during a previous administration, it had a very high balance, and it was all user fees from prosecutor-led diversion programs. A previous iteration of council moved some of our full-time positions into that fund and spent that balance down. We are not bringing in revenues as quickly as they were being spent down by paying those salaries, FICA and PERF. And so we have gradually moved positions back out of that fund into county general. We are now at the point where the only people who are being paid out of this fund are the people who are administering the programs, the infraction diversion and the pretrial diversion programs. Oh, actually, at this point, it's just the infraction. We did move the PDP person out. So the infraction diversion program, but it is not fed by bail or any other fee or revenue stream. It is strictly our statutory fees that we charge for diversion participation, which we do according to, those are set by statute. We do not get to choose what those amounts are, and we follow the statute on those revenues.
I think sometimes people confuse pretrial release with pretrial diversion, which is understandable. And I think maybe that's where the confusion is. This doesn't have anything to do with pretrial release.
But indeed, if we track the revenue from years ago to where it is now, there's no way that this amount of revenue in this fund matches anything like it was.
No.
So there has to be a reason, something that
I think that's
the
statutory mainly.
Yeah, there's a couple of different reasons, Councilor Hawk. We have had fewer cases referred to our office. So I can tell you there was an older time when, for example, we had Little 500 where we would have 300 people lined up outside the courthouse on a Sunday with mostly underage drinking tickets. There has been a significant change in the enforcement during Little 500 and other university events to where excise and the Indiana University Police Department are handling those a little bit less in a different way than they were. So that did decrease just the sheer number of people that we were getting who were pretrial diversion eligible. That said, we have expanded eligibility to include more offenses than we have previously allowed to do the program, including first-time offenses for level 6 felony possession of drugs or paraphernalia, things like that. to not only provide opportunities for individuals to avoid collateral consequences of conviction, to address the root causes of criminal behavior, but also to, just to have that program being utilized to its full extent. I can say one of the preliminary findings of our study, just a spoiler alert, is that people who go through our pretrial diversion program have a higher success rate of not having a new criminal case from 6 months to 1 year than people who don't have any criminal charges filed when referred to our office. So it is an effective program in terms of reducing.
And there was also a statutory change, correct me if I'm wrong, back maybe 5-10 years ago, where we can only collect, you can explain it better than I can.
Part of the user fee is a monthly fee, and we were charging 12 months of fees for every offense that went through. But the statute now says that if it's a Class C misdemeanor, the maximum sentence is 60 days. We can't charge more than 2 months of user fees for that offense.
That's a big part of it.
Right. I knew there had to be a reason.
There's a lot of things, I think.
All right. Anybody else on this side have any questions? I'm looking to my left, Councilor Fido.
So I see on the 30028 training and travel, that looks like it's added. So I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit.
I honestly don't recall doing that.
Okay. So maybe we can recall and take it out.
I would like to leave something in there in case we run short, and that may have been my thinking at the time. I don't have my notes with me.
There wasn't any expended, it looks like, in the last 3 years from what I can see from this.
Yeah, we did not have anything budgeted. That must be what it is. I think in anticipation of cuts in county general and concerns of our being able to get CLE credits for our attorneys, I probably put that in.
So are you amenable then to
I
less?
would like to leave it there in case we run in. Now we've made some reductions in our 30s in our county general. So if I need to move money around there, I would like to know that we can still make sure that our attorneys get all the CLEs that they need, continuing legal education.
And it would likely be at the $10,000 level, you think? That's a I don't know what in the
it's
in
hard
the
to
past
say
other
because
than
it factors in all of the 30s in county general. But I mean, if you want to reduce it, that's fine.
I just don't know what you think would be reasonable to do.
Well, $10,000 was my stab in the dark when I didn't know what kind of cuts we were facing in county general.
I don't know that I have a specific suggestion, so I don't know about my other counselors.
What if we reduce that to half?
Fine.
Okay. Anybody else? Councilor Henry?
So, I mean, just so I understand, do you have anticipated travel that you've identified in the fiscal year? I mean, are there places so where are they and what is that? Because clearly, I think this is, and I don't mean to zero in on this particular line item, but we've been dealing with this for 3 sessions now. Mm-hmm. When people want to travel in a fiscal, they've probably identified a conference at a city, and there's some estimates about hotel cost of per diem, all that. So there's got to be something behind the number here. So where is it? What is it? Help us understand it so we can understand it, I guess.
The bulk of our travel is in county general.
Okay.
And I believe that's 13,000.
So you already have 13,000 for that CLE type training.
Typically run over that. And it's mainly, a lot of it is CLE, but some of it is, for instance, we're sending attorneys to a national conference on the prosecution of homicides, because those are an important case that we cover, and we need to make sure people are trained on those skills. We are also sending our felony domestic violence prosecutor to a national training in October of this year for specifically prosecuting domestic violence cases. So it's a skill, an ability to acquire the skills too, especially when we have a new person in that position. So a lot of the expense also comes from the summer and winter conferences where a lot of our attorneys attend. It's usually in Indianapolis, it's not out of state, but most of our attorneys attend because there they can get their CLE requirements met, which is, you know, they have to have, and it's prosecutor specific rather than taking, you know, CLE classes on bankruptcy, which does not benefit our office at all. So I have, you know, the 2025 traveling that we've got planned. I don't have, other than the summer and winter conference, I don't have 2026 national conferences on the schedule.
But to be clear, you were drawing that from the general fund this year. And so this line item, which has no history, is the additional travel line item.
Anticipating a reduction, yeah.
Okay. I would actually motion to reduce to something more than half at this point, given that we got another account line. I mean, I would be happy just retaining the line item at $1 if you do need to go over.
That's fine.
I think we can revisit that as an appropriation. So I would take it to $1 at this point in this particular item.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that they want to weigh in? Hold your peace. Okay. All right.
Council, I move to set line 30028, training and travel, to $1.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to set this line item to $1. Anybody have any further discussion on this?
This is not impacting the general fund at all. It's,
no.
And it's in a fund that's got plenty of cushion to afford
Well, I wouldn't say plenty. I anticipate our year-end balance to be around 50,000. I won't know until the end of the year, but.
Does the auditor have, I'm sorry, Madam President.
Yes.
Does the auditor have a number for that fund?
Yeah, Ms. Hamlin's pretty much right on us. For now, it's 49,219.
Thank you.
Okay, any other further discussion on this motion?
I mean, it seems to me to be logical to reduce the general fund and keep this one. Isn't the general fund the target really that we're trying to lower? So why wouldn't we keep this one fully funded, and then if a reduction, I mean, she anticipated the logical thing, I think, of putting some travel here so that they could afford it. I'm looking at they use their travel money, so I'm not trying to.
That's right. And we usually are under budgeted in our travel, to be honest. And it's not, you know, willy-nilly. This is education that are. Go ahead.
Sorry, if I may. It is primarily education, but it is not all education. Sometimes we use this for depositions of out of state. So if we have a victim or a witness who lives in another state, they have a right to have their deposition taken in their county of residence. So sometimes we have to travel for casework and you know, that kind of thing. We have training that we have to do not just for our attorneys. Every attorney has to get roughly 12 hours a year of continuing legal education, but we also have to get education for our IDAX coordinator, the person that helps us with our criminal history access. Our extradition person has to do some extradition training, and then every other year we send support staff to training as well. We have a lot of training needs, but not all of our travel is training. It is sometimes case related as well.
Councilor Henry.
Madam President, I'm happy to rescind the motion, but understanding we're going to have to go back and clean this up at some point with just travel generally. So, because we've already moved past the general fund conversation with the prosecutor's office, right?
That was
so
the first one.
we're definitely going to have to open this back up and figure out what the sum total is. I have no doubt that there are rationale for it, but we just went from we don't know why it's here to a long litany of reasons. So anyway, I mean, it's fair. I'll appeal or rescind my motion if it's amenable to the second, but we clearly need to figure out the 23,000 in training here at some point.
Okay. And so looking at our clock here, since we're out of time, and Councilor Henry rescinded that motion to council members as a note for us. Sorry, I see a hand wave from legal.
I got it.
Councilor Henry didn't make the motion.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Did I not?
No, I did. I did.
All right. Well, I'll rescind my.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Let me, Council,
They are paying attention.
They are paying attention. It's wonderful when people pay attention. Council, I rescind my motion to make a change in line 30028.
I'll rescind my second.
Okay. So all the rescinded. All right. But again, and thank you for catching that. Must be in a different place. Again, as a reminder, this is a note for us to put in our little thinking caps here, and as we continue to move forward, to come back to this item, because once again, nothing is final during budget presentations. So that being said, may we please have a roll call vote on this item since there were no changes?
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Counselor Deckard. Counselor Fidel.
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Counselor Henry.
Yes.
Counselor Hawk. Sorry, is that a yes? Okay, thank you.
Councilor Hawk, can you move your microphone to you, because we can't hear you? So,
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
I'm stuck with the chewing gum on my arms.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, motion carries and so does gum. All right, so thank y'all so much. We appreciate that.
Have a good night. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you. All right. Next up on our agenda is the coroner's office.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1000-0007 General with a category request of personnel $176,198, supplies $11,500, services $329,000, and capital at $0 for a total budget of $516,698.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. We have Coroner Hall here. Hello.
Hello, councils. How are you?
Good, how are you? And
Good, thank
can
you.
proceed.
Okay, so as you can see, this is my first year doing the budget committee. So I've been involved before as the chief deputy, so I've kind of got a little bit of familiarity with the coroner's budget. I do know it's one of the smaller budgets in the departments as well. With that being said, I made sure to not make any major changes. The major increase that I did this year was under line item 30020, transport bodies. I did increase that from 50,000 to 55,000. The main reason is we're seeing an increase of families not being prepared when their loved ones pass and not having those pre-arrangements for funeral homes made. And so we're having to bring bodies back from autopsy as opposed to have the funeral homes going and picking them up directly. When they don't have those arrangements predetermined, we have to bring them back here to Monroe County until those arrangements can be made. Also, there is a large population of individuals who have estranged relationships with their families, and sometimes finding the rightful next of kin isn't something that happens overnight. So again, where we take the bodies for autopsies, they can't stay there, so we have to bring them back. And then lastly, also we have a large population of those without houses or homeless individuals, and family, same thing. Trying to locate family for those individuals is very challenging. So we're seeing an increase in not just transports for autopsies, but also return transports back to Monroe County.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I saw hands go up and saw one go first. Councilor Henry.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. So maybe just walking through this a little bit for my understanding on the increase. What opportunities are there working with the townships who obviously have that responsibility as well in terms of the disposition and care for burial, especially for indigent or for those that can't afford? Is there any opportunity in working with our township trustees on helping with that, or are you really on your own with the way that things come back to people come back to the county?
Yeah, it depends. So township trustees typically will assist with cremation services. It's not necessarily transports to and from autopsies. Now, with that being said, not all individuals get those autopsies. So the ones that don't get those autopsies, I tend to reach out to the township in those circumstances to get their assistance for cremation services. None of that comes out of my budget. We don't have to worry about any of that. This is strictly for transports to and from autopsies.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Councilor Hawk.
Yes, a few years ago, when we were discussing this, we were told by the coroner, I believe, that was telling us this, that holding place, or that they needed a new building for it or something. And then also that some of the local funeral homes had several that had never been identified or family member or what. Is that still the case?
It's far and few between, but there are circumstances that do come up where individuals do go unclaimed, whether if their family members are estranged and they just don't want any, responsibility handling the after remains, or we have individuals who have all their living family have either passed or are difficult to locate, in which case the coroner's office takes responsibility for those individuals and works with the township trustees to get them cremated at least.
What about at that time they were talking about the county needed to build a building up for some sort? Do you recall that conversation?
I don't recall that conversation personally because I probably wasn't here at that time. If that was with the previous coroner, that would have been prior to my time. But there is definitely a need for a county morgue here in Monroe County. That definitely is something that I would like to address at some point, obviously not this year, because currently the hospital serves as the county morgue and the hospital can get overrun very quickly. So I try to move individuals to funeral homes as quick as possible. But yes, I definitely think that there is a need for a county morgue in Monroe County.
Councilor Iverson.
I'm looking at your twos under other supplies, and I was wondering if you'd be amenable to reducing that to $6,000.
The other supplies category?
20011.
Yep, I think that could work. That is our supply line that we use mostly for body bag acquisitions.
Yeah.
And I got a pretty good stock in right now, at least to last for the rest of this year. Typically, we purchase those about twice a year, and I think they're close to about 3,200. So I think we could probably make that work.
Appreciate that.
Of course.
Of course, you can always come back if you need more, because that's essential. All right. Looking over here to my left, Councilor Fido.
So going down in the next section under toxicology fees, I see that you haven't even spent half of the amount you're asking for in the last 3 years. So I wonder if you're anticipating some large expenses there that may merit the need for that to be double.
The toxicology fee line is what you're speaking of?
Yeah, the 30015.
I know for a fact, looks like in 2024 was the closest that they spent, let's see, just about half of that then. Looks like I'm looking here. Yeah, I believe that is also anticipation for times where we don't have to do autopsies and we just do toxicology in itself. We have had a little bit of a decrease this year in individuals that we're sending for just toxicology. When we send them for autopsy, it's not a separate charge or anything like that. It's just one flat fee. With that being said, you never know when, I'd rather have that there just in case, and I can use that for my autopsy fees and pull that over if I need to.
Right.
But even in 24 and 23, where they were higher numbers, they still were a little less than half. So would 23 and 24 have been kind of a usual year for that expense, or?
I can't speak on that, unfortunately.
Okay.
That was before my time. Yeah, this is my first year in this particular budget, so.
I hear my first year too.
First all around. All right. Anybody else got any questions?
So I feel like that point being made, could we reduce the toxicology fees to $12,000? Look at, I am asking.
I know, I'm looking to see here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I just
No,
didn't know
no,
if you
you're perfectly fine. Like I said, I haven't quite looked at the numbers for the previous years. I feel like 12,000 might be cutting it a little close. I'd be comfortable with 15,000.
I'll do 15. Can I move that we reduce toxicology fees 30015 to 15,000?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to reduce toxicology fees to, we say 15,000. All right, any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor of reducing this line item to 15,000 signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. All those opposed, same sign? Good. All right. And so that concludes.
We've got one more.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Council, I move to set line 20011 other supplies to $6,000.
Second.
all right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion on this line item reduction? All right. And seeing none, all those in favor of reducing this line item to 6,000 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. And so now I look to Michelle for an updated total.
Personnel, $176,198. New supplies line, $10,000. Services, $324,000 for a total budget of $510,198.
All right. And so, that being said, can we please have a roll?
Counselor Iverson?
Okay.
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Done with your first budget. Thank you very
you.
much.
Madam
Council-
President, if I may,
Yes.
I did want to give the council a heads up. We have been actively working with Mr. Hall to try to move the deputy coroners to contracts, which will not change the overall value of his budget, but it will structurally change those personnel lines to potentially the contractual. So that might be forthcoming.
Good, okay, thank you. At this point, before we get into the meat and potatoes for the rest of the budget, I am going to ask for a 10-minute recess. So, the time now is 6:23, and I really ask this time around for everybody to come back in 10 minutes, so that we can keep going forward with this. So, let's come back at, actually, I'll just round it off. Let's just come back at 6:35. So we'll take a recess here. Everybody come back at 6:35. We all know the assignment. Let's follow it. And we're at recess until then. Okay. So we are back from our recess, and we have two more items on tonight's agenda. And first up, or next up, I should say, is the Sheriff's Office.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1000-0005, County General Office, with the category requests of personnel $5,929,278, supplies $325,500, services $235,500, and capital at $0, for a total budget of $6,490,278.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second and a full table, so y'all go right ahead.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for allowing us to come and talk to you this evening, since we were scheduled for last week. With that being said, I want to say a special thank you to Kim. That serious was we called Kim Tuesday to let her know, hey, we won't be able to make it for Wednesday due to the fact, as you know, we had to actually evacuate the jail so it could be treated. And also, I want to thank the council for being flexible with us. That was a trying event. It's never been done before in the history of Monroe County, and it's something that we needed to do for the actual health safety of the staff and also for the residents that are there. And I assure you, I won't get into details, but I assure you it was a very, very complex thing that we had to do, and we had to do it fairly quickly. By the time we received our results, that was on a Friday late evening. And so we really had no other choice to actually start planning when we got back that Monday. The vendor that provided the service, we really only had a choice to do either Wednesday and or wait another 10 days. And we just couldn't do that. So that's one of the reasons why we asked Kim if she could reschedule us. And I really do appreciate Kim working with us, because it was trying for us to actually start early that morning, not knowing what we was going to be facing, and to be respectful of the council's time, we just didn't know what we were facing. So with that aspect, I wanted to start that off first, to give thanks to Kim and give thanks to the actual council for truly be understanding with us on that aspect, because I tell you, it was something that for 2 days we were planning and finally executed it, and it went really well because of the staff dedication and was something that was all hands on deck. So for that, I do truly appreciate it. I'm going to pass on the actual floor over to the chief and then to Jamie to provide you with information that we have and answer your questions that you might have of us. Chief?
Well, our budget this year, we've had several preliminary meetings to see if we can't work with council. It seems to be a theme that you're asking all of us to try to work with you to help make up some things that we have no control over. I think we've got some things that Jamie's going to present here, and hopefully we'll be able to make some contributions to that as we talk, and then as we go through this process. As I've seen, the scalpels are out and they're sharp, and then we understand why. So that's not a dig at the council or anything. We understand what you're facing. We're all facing it together. So we've tried very, very hard to look at our budget and make sure that we're doing everything to contribute to that effort too. So Jamie's going to kind of lead you through what we're asking for and where we've been able to give it a hard look and let you know what our thoughts are on that.
Okay, so I have tried to rearrange or reallocate some of the funds and zero out lines that we haven't used over the last few years, because obviously this is only my second budget. So, so some of them we did increase, but it's because I've just reallocated from a fund or a line that I was trying to do away with. We tried to cut as best as we can. I'm sure that you're going to want us to cut some more, but that's fine. So I guess I will let you guys ask your questions, and then we'll go from there.
Council, what say you? And starting to my left, Councilor Vital.
So I thought I heard you say you had made some cuts already. Could you give us sort of a brief overview what that might have entailed?
So one of the lines, it's called dictaphone. It's 31590. It's $10,000. We've not used that in several years. So I just zeroed that out. I didn't move that to another line or anything like that. So that's $10,000 that we gave back. Overall, between the 2s and the 3s and the general fund for us, it's about $23,000 that I've decided, I guess we're giving back, that we've cut. But that's the huge one is the $10,000 in dictaphone. Other things, I mean, we had to increase our postage. Postage increased to 74 cents. We mail a lot of things, of items. Where else? Office supplies, we cut some of that. So.
Okay. Anybody else on this side have any questions?
There is an increase in the 20011 other supply line though, right?
Yes, so I took the money, there was money in 900, sorry. And I reallocated that. That was for ammo and film processing. Not really sure what film was being processed. So we moved that to other supplies. And then that line can.
You think you have a need for that and other
No,
supplies?
we will not need that.
Oh.
Oh, I mean, the money and other supplies, yes. We no longer need the ammo or film processing line.
Okay, but you'll use it, you suspect a use then in other
Yes,
supplies?
yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna look over to my right, Counselor Iverson.
This will not come as a surprise. We're talking to every single department about training and travel.
Yes.
We see that you held that flat from last year, but it's a significant amount over what you've used in previous years. And so it looks like the highest that I can see in previous years is about a $10,000 difference. Could you come down to $45,000 in that line?
I think that we could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And travel.
Yeah, that was 30028.
Okay. Counselor,
Yes, could
yeah,
we find out what's been spent year to date on that line? Because I see in 2024, the amount expended, it says 16,164, so that's a major difference from there.
The rationale that I gave from my number was if you go 2 years prior to that in 2022, you spent around $45,000. And so that's why I suggested that number.
We are increasing the training. I mean, we're sending deputies and office personnel to more and more.
One of the things I'd like to touch on that, I think we can absolutely do what you're asking to, Council Iverson, but one of the things that the sheriff did bring to this was the culture change, and one of the larger part of that culture change was training. And as we've geared up, we have increased training and hope to continue to do so. There's a direct correlation between a highly trained police officer and the effective delivery of police services. So obviously want to do what we can, but without sacrificing quality and service to the public too. So we just be mindful of that.
I completely agree. And that's why we like to use the term haircut instead of a deep cut.
What we're trying to do is do more with the people that we have. We are understaffed, and I know I made that clear to you before. So at this point, we're trying to have our people be multitask. So to learn how to do other things. When it comes to public safety, it's changing constantly, and we just can't afford to fall behind, particularly when we just don't have the staff to continue and grow as the county is growing right now.
so quick question on that. How many vacancies do you currently have?
We currently have 2 vacancies.
Okay. Thank you.
I
Interesting.
hesitate to say it, but we're in the latter stages of that process, and there's a possibility, because every time I say that, we get set back 2 steps, but it's a possibility.
Take it out. All right. Counselor Hawk.
Yes, having to do with the training and travel, what I wanted to recognize that it's very appreciated by the public when they see the training actually going on and that you're assisting with training here locally as well, when we can see that. And I do know that there have been some who've asked if we might have some kind of training for the public having to do with like CPR or something of the sort. Is that anything in the horizon that you're thinking of?
we're going to have to sit down and see how can we do that, because right now we're spread so thin. That is something that I would like to do, to be proactive. One of the things that we would like to do is not be reactive, be more proactive. So that idea, I'll welcome it. At the present time, I just don't know if we can do it, just because of the size of the department right now and the multitasking that our deputies out there doing at the present time. I assure you the calls have gone up. The transportation for us has gone up. So would I like to do that? Yes. But can I do it now? I don't think so.
Looking over here to my left to see if anybody else has any other questions. Counselor Wiltz.
Yeah, I'm just looking at 17208 uniforms. I know you all have to have uniforms. I know they're very specialized. I'm not trying to like deprive anybody of anything, but it's not being expended. And I'm wondering if that's an area where we could take a little bit of a reduction.
That's their uniform allowance that they get each year.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's based on the number of deputies that we have.
Oh, that's paid out to them.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And that's pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions on this item? I'm perplexed. Oh, yes. Sorry. Okay.
So, just look, oh, sorry. So looking at the crossing guard with the same things in mind about what you've been spending and what the amount budgeted has been, it doesn't seem like you've pretty approached that $13,000 mark, certainly in the last 3 years that I see. Is that something that is likely to be used totally next year?
Hers is based on the salary ordinance, which I was just here a couple weeks ago about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what that is then.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for letting me understand that better.
Yeah.
Counselor Wiltz.
I have a question about both overtime and the CHIRP grant. And I know you're I know you're coming to talk about the CHIRP stuff.
Yes.
And so I don't want to like get off topic completely, but in terms of your overtime lines that you have here, because you have an overtime for 10,000, a deputy's overtime for 80, clerical overtime for 10. So that's essentially $100,000 just for overtime. And that's a lot. So I also know that some of that is reimbursed by CHIRP. How much and ish?
It's so CHIRP, I don't know how much that the grant is actually for, because BPD is the one who's gets the money and then gives it to us. However, I know that when I'm coming to the council in a couple weeks, it's for $14,000, and that's for 2 quarters. Yeah, so it varies. They're allowed X amount for each quarter. We try to, use those hours, and then it's reimbursed. I don't know what happened prior to me taking over, how all of that was really done. I just know that in 2024, I was told that the council wanted to have funds in there instead of transferring in. And then we just do the whole appropriation, de-appropriation every time. And I don't know who came up with the $10,000 amount to do that. So, I mean, we can certainly reduce that, or I'm just going to transfer in if we need it.
So is the 17,101 just overtime? That's 10,000. Is that?
That one is the CHIRP overtime.
That's
the
okay.
deputy overtime is if you have to work over on your shift or something like that, or manpower shortage or anything.
And if I could just
I was gonna
make,
say,
make a statement.
Go ahead, and then I'll go to
I think
Ms. King.
if it was before, maybe before Auditor Gregory, but we decided to put an overtime line in there to just keep it separate from the deputy overtime, so it was like a cleaner kind of look, so that you knew what you were, you know, reimbursing with against the chirp, so kind of thing.
And
But I think Molly also has.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ms. Turner King.
In looking at the CHIRP grant, the grant term runs from October 1st of 2024 to September 30th of 2025, and the amount is $57,240, and that is to be shared between BPD, the Sheriff's Office, IU, and Ellettsville if they all choose to work Operation Pullover.
So what they do is they send us an allotment of how many hours you can work or that you have available to your deputies in July.
Oh,
Or
okay.
August. And then ask our guys, okay, we've got this many, and we try to fill those hours, but we have to stay inside the bounds of how many hours we've been allotted for that particular month or quarter. Do they do it quarters here? I know down where I was at, they were doing it monthly, but it's by quarters. So, and then it's up to us to schedule those to, you know, as close as we can to how many hours we have in that quarter. If we can't fill them, then that money simply just doesn't get spent, and it stays with BPD. Normally, we're able to fill those hours, and that's then when the reimbursement comes through. And I think what Kim is trying to tell us is that we were kind of mixing those up, which is trying to make it a little bit cleaner, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. And CHIRP is specifically overtime. So when they say hours, they're accounting for time and a half or, you know, that kind of thing.
It's
So-
a flat rate.
Got it. And clerical overtime, obviously that's tiny, and it looks like it's been adjusted this past year, and you asked for more. Because you've spent more than $10,000 in 2025.
Because we had the vacancies.
That's what my question would be, is that about just filling in for each other when there's
when
openings?
somebody's on vacation? We are fully staffed now, so yay.
Cool, good to know. I think that's all I have on that. Thank you.
Counselor Hawk.
Yes, are we moving off of overtime, or are we still speaking overtime?
The floor is yours,
Anything?
as long as it's
Okay.
within the general. Yep, go ahead.
I noticed, and kudos to our sheriff's department, that you had that drone out there so quickly. What was that, 2 days ago? And I'm looking here, trying to figure out where we're paying for the drone, where we're paying for the training for the drone, because that doesn't just get up and whip around all by itself. So, or is that, we're not supposed to be discussing that with this budget, but I'm sure it's got to be in that budget someplace. So I just want to make sure that is fully funded, because just that one time alone, folks, says it all. This is what we have to do to be prepared, so that when our citizens want to go out and take a walk on a trail, they run into a problem, you're there. And you've got it covered, and you can do it so much quicker with that drone. It was just amazing. So I just wanted, something bad happened, the good guys showed up, is what I'm saying.
So good guys with the drone, do y'all know where that is in the budget?
We bought extra drones last year out of the LIT fund, the PS LIT fund.
Okay.
And then the
So it's not in
training
this.
comes out of our normal training.
Got it. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, then I'm gonna look to Council Iverson.
Council, I move to set line 30028, training and travel, to $45,000.
Okay. Any further discussion on training and travel? All right. All those in favor of reducing training and travel line item 245,000 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Councilor Iverson.
Got a real quick one. In addition to the ammo and film processing that was set to 0, there are 2 other lines that are set to 0, and I just want to make sure for the record that that was the intention and not to set it to $1.
Correct.
Great, thank you. No further questions.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Then we just need to
Ask a question?
Yes.
What is maintenance? You have maintenance. What is that used for? It's 30025.
So that is anything that's not covered by fleet, towing our squad cars, things like that.
Kim, we're about to get out of here. So you asked that question.
I know, right?
We already thanked you.
Thanks.
Oh, the comedic timing.
All right. Got to get the draw. All right. That being said, can we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Oh, and can we back up? Because since we had a reduction, we needed to read into the record the new total. Sorry about that.
No worries. I kind of interrupted. So, personnel, 5,929,278. Supplies, 325,500. Services, 224,500 for a total budget of 6,479,278.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next up, item B.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1000-0626, County General Animal Control, with the category requests of personnel at $182,843, supplies at $24,000, services at $444,624, capital at $0, for a total budget of $651,467.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. What do you have to add for this one?
Well, we've reduced this one by about $11,000. There were some housekeeping things. Like I said, moving some funds around. There were training and some contractual things that were coming out of the sheriff's budget that really should come out of animal control. One of them being their shelter net maintenance. It's a program that they use to enter their information, their calls and cases into. They are going to more training. So we gave them a training and travel budget. One of them, they went out to Colorado to some kind of horse training, and it was pretty pricey, but it was well worth it. I think they want to send somebody again next year. They want to start doing some educational materials to put out to the public as well. So that's why we did the printing and subscriptions. And the only one is the animal shelter, the interlocal. I don't know what that's going to be yet for next year. So most likely that's going to increase, but that comes from the city. So, and then we haven't had a need for the equipment under the capital category. So we decided to remove that one for now.
Okay. I'm going to go here first, and I'm going to circle back. Councilor Deckard.
I had 2 questions.
Yeah.
Are there 3 animal control officers?
Yes.
And are they scheduled, is that like around 24 hours or is that shifts?
No, it is shifts.
Shifts.
Yeah, there is somebody there 7 days a week, but they are still shifts.
And is it roughly like there's someone on first 8, second 8, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
I got it right. And then the other question I just had is, if you don't know, you can get back to me or however this works. What's the biggest thing that are getting called out for? roughly?
Mean dogs.
Mean dogs.
We've had, let me answer that question a little less comedically. We've had several instances of really, really dangerous animals where we've had people bitten, we've had our officers attacked, we've had, we just had one really horrific one where the two animals of this owner were attacking each other over a period of days, and this broke loose, in the middle of the night, where we had two severely injured animals that we had to go take possession. And we're in the position of possibly taking them up to Indianapolis to an animal hospital, but we were able to get them evaluated here thanks to the shelter there that brought someone in and evaluated those animals, and we were able to avoid doing that. But the person I'm telling you this is that when we got here, these fellas, and now one of our ladies here is animal control officer. They were just kind of thrown out there. They didn't have a whole lot of training. They didn't have a whole lot of equipment. So hence what we have tried to do, because the end user is that animal, that we need to be making sure that we're providing a proper service and being able to diagnose what's going on here with those animals, and horses and all types of livestock issues that come up. So we've made a very, very concerted effort in this area, just as the sheriff has in other areas, of providing quality training, so that when we react to those things, we're reacting to them properly, because the public is very aware when animals are being mistreated, particularly here in this county. So we're very attentive to that. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It just occurred to me as I was looking at the budget, I was like, I don't think we've really talked about animal control much over the years, but we're looking at, and I'm not suggesting anything, let me be clear for anyone watching in here, outside, or whatever, we're looking at all these things that we have to do at the local level that people kind of say, well, you guys just twiddle your thumbs and don't do anything all day. Well, literally, if you're looking at this budget, we pay well over $500,000, almost to $750,000 to help people control their own animals. And if you think about it, particularly with dogs, if that were managed better at somewhere else that's not called government, we wouldn't have that. And I guess the point I'm just saying to illustrate, and thanks for letting me ask those questions, is that if we don't do that, it's a disaster for animal, disaster for the public, disaster for kids, disaster for everybody. But somebody has to pay nearly $750,000 to do it, right? So I'm curious. I was curious about that, and I just appreciate it.
I'll give you just one more thing here to feed off that a little bit. We had one call where these animals were roaming a neighborhood and they were wreaking havoc. They really were. So one of the things the sheriff recognized here, that our only method with dealing with these animals, especially these vicious dogs, when they get loose and roam the neighborhood and they're terrorizing the neighborhood and children and everything else, is we had capture nooses, or we put them down on the spot. So we invested in some training, and we are now able to, in coordination with that shelter, tranquilize now, instead of, it just gives us another option. And that equipment was not cheap, nor was the training. And we've developed a policy on how that works. So it's an ongoing project of how we can do this more efficiently and more safely and humanely. And you really have to have all three of those components when you're dealing with animal control. And that's what we're trying to do here. So.
Councilor Hawk.
For those of you who might remember Warren Henniger, who didn't always support all things, but he was a major supporter of this. And I think it's because he interacted with the farmers, and the farmers are the ones who will come forward and saying, look, we've got this large dog that is hanging around the livestock causing major problems. And at some point in time, somebody's going to get hurt. And so it's important that we have people able to respond when you have a farmer calling and saying, we have a problem here, that we're able to go out there. And one of the big reasons that I think it's so important is there's nothing like in a neighborhood where one neighbor's dog gets into an argument with another neighbor's dog, and then the neighbors are into it. So it's not just the animals not getting along, then pretty soon the neighbors aren't getting along. And that takes somebody with some real skill to go in there and try to cool that down and answer the situation. And I'm sure you've seen that. So this is an important part of public safety.
Counselor Iverson?
I want the 2s and the 3s. I have no question. This is a great budget. You either reduced or held flat every single line that you didn't move into this budget. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this is good.
All is well with our soul, sounds like. All right, somebody else over here have a question? Okay. Last call for question over here. Counselor Wiltz.
So this is not my question. I may have been given this question. I've been fed a question. But is there any reason why some things in this budget couldn't, if we end up having space, be put into public safety lit? Is there, anyone have or issues with that? Over at the table of rule makers.
I can look at the statute.
Okay, that would be lovely if you would. Thank you. We'll just go on.
All right, so no further questions on this. Okay, can we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Counselor Flack.
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Counselor Hawk.
Yes, I said yes for someone else. Okay, yes.
She did it for me. Motion carries 6-1. Big party. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, item C.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1170-0005 Public Safety Lit Sheriff with the category request of personnel $1,578,891, supplies at $73,000, services at $18,000, capital at $55,000 for a total budget of $1,724,891.
Second.
All right, what else
I
on this
think
item?
the biggest thing with this one is moving some of the funding that's in the capital category to, let's see, the supplies, because the dive team is wanting some new dive suits for next year. The capital category, they don't really spend a lot out of there. I think the money's been in there in case they need to repair their boat or get a new boat or something like that. But they're wanting dive suits. So rather than keep the funding in the capitals, just to move it to the supplies so that they can get some new equipment. Everything else I think is pretty straightforward.
Looking over to my right, Counselor Hawk.
Auditor, can you give us
Your microphone, Marty. Marty, microphone.
Can you give us the balance in this public safety fund and what the projected revenue is for the county for next year?
Yes.
The balance is coming up. Okay, the current balance is $3,039,756. And if you'll bear with me for the projected revenue, just one moment.
I think the projected revenue went up as high as what we thought it might. Because remember, the city's portion, they add, it includes debt, and the city's debt was much higher than ours. And it also was when we didn't have that, because it's the property tax footprint that raises the money for the public safety lid. And because the city had a higher debt that they could put on it, because that's not the certified share, but just for public safety, they count the debt. And the city's debt was much higher in their property tax. So they got a much bigger part of the share of what was left over from central dispatch, which we should never have budgeted that.
Okay, I have that.
Yes,
Projected.
go ahead.
Okay, great.
Please.
Okay, the projected revenue for PS Lit is $3,654,366. Thank you.
Okay. But Councilor Iverson?
So, I mean, this gets back to what Councilmember Wiltz just raised about whether or not there is room here. And I think we probably need to do some more math to make sure, and we'll of course work with you all to make sure. There's a lot of positions in here already. So we want to be really, really careful here. So, but I mean, it's worth looking into.
Okay. Councilor Decker?
Well, there's, pardon me, there's a number of positions that are intersecting from multiple departments too, right?
That's correct.
I mean, it's the constant stream.
That's
so
correct.
Kind of untangling that as we go.
Yep.
But it looks like if those numbers are what I'm hearing, 2/3 roughly are coming from this line, so, or this area. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on this side have any questions? Oh, Councilor Hawk?
Yes, I think we need to do a lookout of like for 3 years in this fund, because we're not going to have this fund in 2028.
Right.
So we have to look at whatever we're budgeting for that. We've got to get it out of that 1.2. So.
Yep.
I see the auditor has her hand up.
We spoke about earlier looking at the 4Bs at the beginning of the meeting tomorrow. However, if you would like to see this, we can put it up for you. Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Carly, if you can share your screen. So the estimated December 31st, 2026 operating balance, and you'll see it momentarily, is estimated at 1.2 million. So, and just to remind you, the minimum fund balance per our policy is 1 million. So we're getting close to that with the anticipated expenditures.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any other questions on this? Nope. Seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. And that concludes your budget. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have time left. Look at
5
this.
minutes and 15 seconds back. Thank you. All right. Next up on deck, we have the jail/correctional center.
Council, I move for discussion and review Fund 1000-0380, County General Jail, with the category requests of personnel at $6,419,241, supplies at $235,850, services at $1,695,278, and capital at $15,000 for a total budget of $8,365,369.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Go ahead, please.
So for the jail side, as you know, one of the things that we're constantly doing is the maintenance. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, so we have to be very, very flexible and fluid when we deal with the jail side. Just one example, not every cell block had the locks changed or replaced, but we had to definitely change a few of them. We had an incident where a correctional officer got injured based on the lock not working properly. So we went ahead and made those changes, but this is the constant thing for us that we just don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and we try to deal with the situation as it comes, but it's coming kind of quickly and fast for us in the jail side. So I say that to say that there are going to be times that we're going to come back to you just because we just don't know what's going to happen. And one other thing that I'm concerned with right now, which, as you know, the elevator, that's still an issue for us, and that affects everything in that facility as far as moving the residents there to their court appointments, also to the food when that goes down. So it's a major undertaking. I tell you, with the Commander Gibbons and Jordan, they're going to speak to you shortly. But we deal with this every single day. As you know, with the age of that jail and how it's falling, as things are breaking down constantly.
Good evening. So, as has been mentioned, we have done everything we can to reduce costs. We come to you this evening, kind of a big picture scenario, actually reducing what we believe to be a total of $210,801. A large portion of this based on kind of contract negotiations with our medical contract, as well as, of course, reducing some of these lines. So we do have an adjustment to make, or a reduction on our medical services line. But once again, for the county general fund, we're looking at a reduction of $198,000 in a number of lines. Some smaller ones, of course, as I mentioned, office supplies. We have slowly reduced our maintenance. We kind of noticed a trend when we first started here, right around $70,000 that that we needed to spend to get the facility where it is today, and then continued kind of reducing that closer to 60 in 2024. We anticipate a future need of 50. So that was reduced by a little over $20,000. We also determined that there wasn't necessarily a need per expenditures in past years for the ammo film processing. We believe that we can potentially accommodate any of those needs by means of an in-house transfer. And then contractual, we took down from 10 to 5. And then finally, the new medical services after negotiations, we're looking at an amount of $1,525,277 rather than the initial requested budget amount of $1,690,278. So as we've mentioned, we're doing everything we can to, by means of negotiations and kind of trimming costs to kind of come out with a more favorable total.
You give that total number again for me.
Of course, $1,525,277. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Counselor Decker.
I have a question, and this is a good opportunity to educate the public. Medical services for our inmates, what does that cover roughly under that line?
I do want to add that was for the base contract, of course. Sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, so to answer your question directly, that covers the nurses, the the medical professionals, it covers the discharge planner, it covers the substance use counselor, it covers our mental health professionals, and then it covers the cost pool that we have built in there, and I think it's what, 150,000?
150,000.
So what happens, that pays for the contract, and then it pays for $150,000 worth of outside medical that comes from that amount. Now, always the unknown here is, do you surpass your cost pool? And that's when we're coming back to you for additional appropriation. But I think in fairness to the county, what we're trying to do here is just budget for what the contract, and I know hope's not a plan, but we do everything we can with internal medical care, and I think increasing these positions, and 3Cs has been pretty efficient at providing care in-house, that we take a very cautious approach to try to limit those outside costs, but without compromising inmate care, and hopefully we don't get past that cost pool. But if I understand the council, and I've talked to Kim about this a few times, that pool is built in there to cover that excess, and we don't want to budget that. We want to come back if we get close to the end of the year and it looks like the pool is we're gonna exceed our pool amount.
We're well within our projections monthly on that pool as of this moment.
Well, one thing that I appreciate about this line and what's happening is, number one, it's just stuff you got to do. Like you have to do that for the folks that are in there. And I remember years ago when we were having kind of heightened discussions on that, those are things you have to do. When folks are with us for their time there, they've got to have what they have got to have, or it makes a worse condition for all your folks. I'm not telling you anything that you know, and so this is a realistic thing that has to be done. Often when we get in the bigger discussions, we start talking about, well, we had this outside that did this and this, but while they're there with you, there are literally, as people also need air that they breathe, food that they eat, they need that to make that happen. And I appreciate that there's honesty on that. And I do think, while hope's not a plan, it's not my line, I think we have had a plan and we run our plans, and I appreciate this being part of that.
Councilor Hall.
Yeah, I think we all know that if the sky would open up and drop off millions of dollars to us, we would start building whatever jail everybody wanted. But in the meantime, even if that happened, we're still going to be right there in that jail for a few more years. And we have to take care of it. We have to. If you have locks that are breaking, let's just get the locks in there. Let's not wait until we have a major problem. I know that you know that. I'm saying this so the public will know that. And so that the commissioners, anyone else listening, we need, and you would have the same thing if you move to a brand new facility. There's always maintenance and upkeep. It's part of what anybody includes in a projected budget. They put money back every year for those other larger things. Now, I will be shocked the way I'm hearing you talk about that elevator, that elevator is still going to be running just perfectly fine 5 years from now. So I think what I've heard you say, it's not just what it costs to replace the elevator, but what you do with the inmates while the elevator's being replaced. So, I mean, I don't know, but there's bound to be, we cannot be the only jail in this whole world that needs an elevator replaced. So let's find out what we have to do before we have to do it, because it's going to hit us and then we won't have a plan. Or maybe you guys already have a plan and we don't know what it is. But I just want to make sure that we're not back to the days when you were told we're not going to put lipstick on a pig, because this pig is full of people and full of our people working there, and we need to do whatever it takes to take care of this facility so that it's safe for you and safe for the people who are there.
Councilor Iverson.
Two things. The twos in this budget are fantastic. I mean, you really went out of your way to reduce those, so thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And then maybe a suggestion for the future. One of the tools that we have in our disposal are some geo bonds, some old geo bonds. Your capital category is at $15,000. The previous year was $16,000. The year before that was $17,000. Maybe we put those in an old geo bond. It's something to look into.
Thank you.
I don't know. Yeah, we need to look into it.
Good. Pull my mic over. This might be something for the auditor. And thinking about the conversation of the locks and whatnot, we allocated ARPA dollars to locks. Do we still have, I know we are getting ready to figure out how to come together with a new meeting so we can kind of talk about the ARPA dollars. Is there a balance left with the locks? Because if so, we definitely should use that.
Yes, there is still a balance left with those, and I believe we're working with the correctional center now to determine how quickly we can expend that.
Okay.
So we'll have an update for you soon.
Okay. And then just as a reminder, we have to have that all spent down by 26.
That's right.
So by the end of 26. Okay. I just thought about that. Looking over here to my left to see if anybody has any questions. Okay, seeing none. I'm gonna look over to Councilor Iverson.
Council, I move to set line 34100 medical services to $1,525,277.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to reduce that line item. Is there any further discussion on that? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of reducing this line item, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. And then I'm just gonna look to Ms. Shell for our new grand total.
$1,419,241. Supplies, $235,850. Hold on, $235,850. Services, $1,530,277. Equipment or capital, $15,000 for a total of $8,200,368.
Awesome. Okay, sounds like a plan. All right, so may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
I have to say yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor
I
Iverson?
support law enforcement.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, item B.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1170-0380 Public Safety Lit Jail with the category requests of personnel at $666,079, supplies at $0, services at $475,000, capital at $0, for a total budget of $1,141,079.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Go ahead.
So the main item in this fund is the meals beyond the wages for employees. And we look to maintain that at $475,000. We had been back in the last couple of years, I believe, requesting an additional, obviously inflation, among other things, took place. We believe this is, we're at a great place with this, trending in the right direction with this, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. And looking over here to my left to see if anybody has any questions. Nope. To my right? Okay. That being said, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. Next up is item C.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1175-0000, misdemeanant with the category requests of personnel at 0, supplies at 0, services at $138,500, capital at 0, for a total budget of $138,500. Second.
Okay, Mr. Miller?
Yes, this fund contains a decrease of just shy of $13,000. We were able, of course, to reduce the need for the maintenance line by $10,000. We believe that we can reduce the inmate education GED line due to past year's spending by a couple of $1,000s without taking any hit with the items and needs there. We were able to do some adjusting of our contract with our CPC to no longer have the need for LexisNexis, which was the inmate law library, previously $4,800. So that is there's no longer a need for that account. Booking, printing signs, we've been able to utilize funds in recent years to really get the needs there. So we were able to reduce that by $6,000. The one item, of course, that we do believe an increase is needed in is training. We have shown a trend in recent years, and this year we're already at an amount greater than $15,000. We are utilizing commissary for some trainings as well at this point in time, with some future trainings later this year. So we do believe there's, as you can imagine, there's always a need for training, especially in this field of work. But we believe $10,000 was an amount that we hoped to receive. And as I mentioned, that's in $12,800 cut. So a total of, if we got that $10,000, that would still leave us $12,800 less than what we had been in recent years.
And I would like to elaborate just a bit on the training. And I know that we're cutting training in every department. We fully understand why. But here's where we're at. When we came in, we increased training by 500% in the first year. That directly correlated to a reduction in use of force incidents by 85%. And that's not by accident. That's not just training, that's high quality training. Each officer that's hired, you have to give 80 hours to on initial hire, 40 hours within the first year, and then 16 hours every single year. So when we're talking about training, we're not talking about just going to a conference. We're talking about training required by the Indiana County Jail Standards and our statutory training. I myself am required as a jail commander to have 24 hours. Our recertification for the sheriff and I as ILEA instructors, we have to do every 3 years. And I just got back from that, which hit our training budget pretty hard. So we've got the same amount allotted for us, a lot of the departments for training, and we have 80-something officers utilized. It's not just an office of 4 people. So again, the only reason I say that is I understand where you're coming from. Just understand what happens when we cut that portion. I think we would be willing to work a little harder cutting other areas as opposed to training.
We're looking at it long term in savings. If we have someone that's truly trained properly, use less force, that means that individual is not going to get hurt and or a resident get hurt, and now we got to pay for medical care. The other portion of it is this, that we lost in the past staff members because of the lack of training. And now we're at a certain point that even the ones that left some have come back, which in long term really saves us. So as I mentioned before, training is something that's constant, evolving. And if we don't stay with it, we could find ourselves thinking that we're saving now, but then paying for it later, because something in that facility could go south fairly quickly. When I mentioned about that correctional officer being injured because of lock, but the training kicked in for everyone, and thank goodness it was isolated. But that required us actually having a game plan to de-escalate fairly quickly, which was not truly understood back before we took over. So that's something that we're very conscious of, because we know for a fact that how things go escalate so quickly and get out of control, and that will cost us more in the long run. So,
not to continue on beating on this thing, but there's one thing that's noteworthy with this, and the sheriff and Kyle won't take credit for it, so I'm going to do it for him. But when, in the training department, something that directly affects the cost of training is your staffing levels. If you're low on staffing, you're not sending as many people to training. You're not doing, and we're fully staffed in the jail right now, and have been, within a position or two for some time. So those added bodies adds up to added training, because everybody that's new is coming in has to be trained up to the standard of the person that's already there. And I know we're doing an awful lot of talking about this increase, but you have decisions to make, and you have to make those decisions based upon effectiveness and efficiencies. And this is just one area that Kyle and the sheriff have been absolutely at a torrid pace with, and they do a lot of their training themselves so that we don't have outside instructors coming in. So we're trying to do everything we can to limit the cost, but the downside, if you will, of being fully staffed is you have to fully train those people when they're fully staffed. So
I think I saw hands. I'm just gonna go down the soul train line.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna go left and then just come on down. So
I actually have a question probably for the auditor, but first of all, what's the revenue source for this fund? Oh, look at her walking right behind it to help you out.
So this revenue source is all miscellaneous revenue. I can share the 4B if you'd like.
That would be great, actually. Thank you.
It does look like the revenue would not support the current cash balance and expected expenses. 26. Sorry. Did you catch that?
I heard what you said, but I can't read the numbers. So can you give me a basic amount?
Based on the 4B, we are scheduled to end the 2025 year with roughly $46,000 in the fund. If we take into account the anticipated miscellaneous revenue of $85,000 and the budgeted request amount of $385,500, that leaves us with an ending 2026 cash balance of negative $6,375.
And that's not just this, so it's not just your budget that's coming out of this. So that includes probably prosecutor.
No, this is strictly theirs.
Are we doing misdemeanor? What are we doing? Aren't we on misdemeanor?
Yeah, this is misdemeanor.
So is it just their budget?
That comes to state from the state.
Yeah,
comes in the fall of the year.
35 is missing.
Okay, so am I reading this right, that their budget is $138,500, right?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
I missed that.
okay. Going down the line and okay. Councilor Iverson.
We're good with the 4B. Can I move on to another thing? All right. Comment, then a question. I'll start with a comment. Senate Bill 1 hit the public library really hard. They're reducing hours. That really hurts our community. I really appreciate that we're still doing the inmate library services contract with the public library. I think that's so important. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. The second thing is I'm confused, and that happens sometimes. We zeroed out the law library. Where did that go?
There's a program within the CPC.
No, I mean, like what budget line is CPC in?
The inmate law library that was 4,800. It's 31390. That's in previous years. It was 40, like 2020. Let me see.
Yeah.
So CPC is not a line. That's a contract we have. It's a service that's provided. We use our commissary through CPC, our kiosks, our
That's the answer.
phones, our chirps.
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
You use commissary for it.
No. Darn it. No, we don't use commissary for it. It is our commissary. CPC is the company that we use.
Got it. Yep.
So
All right, clear. I
what
got
we
it, I got
have through CPC, we have a law library service that we acquired through our CPC that's accessible by the inmates on the kiosk. Because we got that, we can get rid of LexisNexis. It's something we worked into the contract. You're welcome.
That is really clear. Thank you so much. Because I saw CPC next to LexisNexis,
Yeah.
I thought it was some additional software. So I was looking for like a services line or contractual line instead of.
Combined public communication.
Yeah. All right, great. Thank you.
Counselor Hawk.
Okay, so this money comes from the state, right? The misdemeanor money. And we probably don't have it entered as yet because it usually comes in the fall, right? So that's not added on to, like, I wrote down 46,000. Is that what the balance is now?
Oh, that's projected.
Well, what I want to make sure that you have entered as part of your equation here, that we don't have, I think, is it 85,000 that we get every year? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head,
I think it's about that. And it comes in like September, October, something like that. So it wouldn't already show here. So we'll still get that before the end of the year. And then next year, if it still comes in, who knows what's going to happen next year? Will there be a next year? Then it still won't come in until the fall of that year. So, I mean, you can budget, but the cash might not be there for you to actually spend until to the end of the year. That's why I'm just trying to get at, so we understand the flow of the money.
Look at the 4B.
So I'll give the auditor a way to respond to that.
If I may just clarify, we have received that annual payment for 2025. It
When
looks like
did we
it's
get-
almost $86,000, and it is accounted for on the 4B then as well.
Okay, can you give me a date that we got that?
Carly's pulling the date. I had a general amount pulled up. I'm sorry.
It doesn't come till the fall.
Well, it came, okay.
Yeah, that's it. It came.
July
aside.
23rd was the date.
Well, it came in July. Wow, they're on top.
Everything. Okay, so we got the payment. It sounds like we got it ahead of time. Okay, that sounds great.
Okay. May I?
Yes,
I'm
go
sorry.
right ahead.
So there's still the concern, though, that it is over budgeted
Correct.
compared to what we expected to have. So that is over budgeted by how much?
About 7,000, I believe.
Oh, just seven?
6,000.
So remember, their cash balance will need to carry them through until July of 2027. So if they bring it down to zero at the end of 2026, they're going to have cash issues until they get that next
Right.
one lump sum.
Right.
You can't do that. Yeah.
That seems like it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Not sure how to do it and not sure that right now is the time, because it sounds like $7,000 could be fixed right here and now. But having a minimum balance there at the end is another issue.
Yeah, 7,000 wouldn't necessarily do it. It needs to get halfway through the year. So at least
Yeah.
halfway through the year.
Could we consider reducing the maintenance in this fund and increasing, kind of taking that back in, what is it, 1170 or county general? Let me see. Yeah, in county general. I mean,
Oh, I don't know that we want to put things back in general.
yeah.
Well,
Yes, Councilor Hawk.
the other question is, the rest of your budget that you have in there for 2025, is there anything in there that you might not be using so that you're not spending it down to nothing? Because you've got to have money to, you've already got the fall, what I call the fall amount. It's supposed to get you through until next fall, so you can't be spending spending it down to nothing, you won't have anything to work on all of next year. Is that what?
So
I'm gonna look at the auditor.
if
Yeah,
I may,
go
as
ahead.
of today, we have an unexpended balance of $65,452. So out of the total budget, which was $151,754, that's where we are. So there is a chance that it won't be completely expended. However, I'd have to look to the sheriff's department, or I'm sorry, the correctional center for that information.
So am I hearing right? We made 12,000 in cuts in that. Had we not done that, we'd have been having this same discussion.
Only bigger.
Yeah.
Welcome to our lives.
Okay. I was trying to think of how we cut the budget by 12,000 and we're still over 7. Okay.
Well, the amount that comes in probably varies, and so we have to base it on what the projection is for what's coming in, and I don't know a whole lot more than what I did. I don't know how it's been varying.
We've been dipping into reserves for a little while, it appears.
Got it.
That misdemeanor fund for the longest time was the sheriff's little secret all over the state, but once it got discovered, boy, it came to the forefront.
Well, and I will also point out that the 2024 expenditures are about 116,000, and then the 2025 budget was 151,000. That's a big jump. So that jump was then put into reserve. So I think we want to make a fix so that we don't get back into this seesaw of every year.
We might have already gone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just went into conversation mode. Sorry. The contractual line, is that something that, do you have that specifically budgeted for a contract? They're busy thinking.
And they offered another line too.
Oh, what was that?
I think they offered.
MA education GED line.
Oh, right.
And there might be some more.
There's several that are underutilized here, but they're, you don't want to be like.
Well, I think Mr. Miller had said earlier too that, they were advocating for the training and travel to be, but if they could have that be, that there would be some other things that they would be able to reduce.
I know the maintenance line was mentioned, but I see that expended just 22.5 in 24, and as of June 30th, it had only been 13,220. So there's one idea. I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted you.
So I was talking to Counselor Wiltz also, looking at the maintenance video imaging. It looks like it's 12.5, but if you look at the previous years, it hasn't even been hardly half of that and 0 on 1 year. So I don't know about that number. Is that something that's able to be taken a better look at?
Well, part of this, for instance, that 2025 or 2024, I'm sorry. This is contractual. So when things go down, this is what we pay it out of. So it just shows that something didn't go down that year, but it had gone down years prior. Cameras go down. Last year we just had 19 cameras installed. So that was paid for out of a different line, but that's what that maintenance is for facility cameras. So we could reduce it, but you never know when it's going to go down, and everything, that. Our SAS has told us that it's so far outdated that we're having to buy parts that are so back ordered because they don't exist any longer.
I hear eBay's good for that.
Yeah, that's what we do actually.
And with that being said, I guess I keep
kind of coming back to our ARPA conversation with things like that, is that also something that we could use as a cost savings too? Again, because it sounds like we have some funding or some things that might not happen the way that we thought it would be for ARPA, but that also is something that we could possibly potentially put in our back pocket for this. Maybe.
Anything we do, there already has to be an existing project.
Dang it.
Yes.
Yeah, so because this is not existing, we wouldn't be able.
We,
Dang it. Okay, go ahead.
if we, Madam President, we did have ARPA dollars to jail for maintenance issues around locks.
It was specific to jail locks, but yes.
So we couldn't be like locks and kind of wink a little bit.
Federal government, they're a little strict on that stuff, but.
The look on our lawyer's face.
All right, so, Madam President, it seems like we have two issues with this budget that we need to address, and it seems like we're not quite there yet, and we have 10 minutes to go with another budget to go. Might I suggest that we come back to this budget at some point to address these two issues instead of trying to figure this out in front of cameras and microphones? Like in this moment, we come back to it with a more reasoned.
Is part of what we're trying to figure out our ask for increase or our base in training?
Yes.
Say that again.
Are we talking about our increased ask in training for next year, or our budget for this year, our base budget for this year?
Well, if we didn't spend
Good
the
question.
budget this year.
So it's kind of a zero-sum game, and they all add up into the same pot. So, it's where it's two things. It's first of all, in this 2026 request, can we pull about $10,000 somewhere to get it down so it at least isn't over what the revenues are gonna support? And then I think for another night, another time, maybe work with the auditor's office, or we can work with you to look at how can we maybe look at what you have this year and the rest of 2025, and maybe find some okay, maybe we won't spend all of, communication repair services. What are we kind of able to save back? Because anything you don't spend out of this stays in that fund and will get you through the following year. Because if you spend everything that comes in plus the 46 that you have at the end of this year, you got $0 to spend January 2027. Am I okay?
That is correct.
And so that's what we're trying to. We're just trying to make sure that you don't end up in that situation.
Right. Maybe two solutions here.
Okay.
We're $7,000 in the red, basically. So we can either move our request from 15 to 25 to 15 to 18. That makes it up, right? We request.
What line is this? I'm a little slow.
We're on
Training and travel.
30028. Yeah, training and travel.
Or
travel.
What Kyle and the sheriff have been able to do is, as you know, when we first came in here, I think the council graciously gave us about $40,000 extra appropriation in 2023 to get things rolling over there. And we have got things rolling. And the maintenance now, once you get it up, it doesn't cost as much to keep it up as it does to bring it up. So we could look at our maintenance part there and take that request of 10,000 and drop that to 25 and move it down to training, and both of those would zero out our problem in the misdemeanor fund. And I don't know which Kyle and the sheriff would prefer, but those are two solutions that I was just looking at here, because I don't think we want to come back, because you're liable to pick our pockets when we come back the second time. So.
Oh, figured it out.
I can see it.
Okay. So
please.
Well, what if we left training and travel as is? Because you made a pretty solid case for that. But we take maybe 5,000 from that maintenance video imaging, and 5,000 from regular maintenance. And that eats a little bit less of the percentage on those two bigger items rather than impacting your training travel. That's my suggestion.
And then if you do that, is there still a need to reduce the inmate education GED line?
I mean,
That's just something that we found that we could cut. Our numbers are down, and there's some things that are actually happening federally that may force the numbers to go down even more.
and yeah, in the recent years, we're looking at 2,500, 2024, right around 2,700 as of this year. So 3,000 seemed realistic.
Okay.
Let me touch on that GED thing for a second, because I know that one concern for you guys is taking away something that's been so great. Recently, within the last week, we were approached by it's Monroe County Public Adult Education. They came to us and said that they are being forced now to provide citizenship. You cannot take the class unless you can prove that you're a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And it's not just for people who lack immigration status. It's for people who are incarcerated that don't have a Social Security card, a driver's license. You have to have two proofs of identification to prove your citizenship. So they envisioned that these numbers could go down, and the concern was that we might lose it altogether. But we still have classes going on, and that's why we brought the number down a little bit to make sure we could still pay for all of that. It's an unfortunate ramification of an election.
I'm gonna keep my words to myself because I have words that are not made for TV. Okay, so yeah, because that's
I'm just suggesting to make this easier, quicker, whatever. Figure out what you want to remove from there, a dollar amount, and just reduce one of these other lines, and they can move it up and down.
Well, I think that's.
And we don't have to know exactly which line to cut it from. Just cut it from some line, and they can move it up and down.
We're good with that.
Great idea.
Just you pick a line. We'll stick it. We'll cut it.
Okay, I'm gonna go to council.
How's that work?
We're good with the 30,000 for maintenance and then 7,500 for the maintenance video imaging.
Okay, I thought that's where we were. Okay, all right. And so I'm gonna go to Council Iverson.
Council, I move to reduce lines 30025 maintenance and 34110 maintenance video imaging each by $5,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any further discussion on this item? Lord, I hope not.
And Michelle, did you get that complicated motion? I just want to make sure that we've got that.
And the other one is going to be
34110.
7,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7,000.
So both of those lines reduced by 5,000. Okay. So, see.
This one you're going to change.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of reducing those line items each by 5,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. I'm gonna look at you, phone. All right. Motion carries. All right. Going back to the overall question at hand, and I'm gonna look at Michelle for a new grand total.
Okay. So, no personnel, no supplies. Services is now $128,500. That is the budget amount of $128,500.
Okay. All right. And that being said, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. And
Thank you.
last but certainly not least is item D.
Council, I move to open for discussion and review Fund 1233-0000, Lit Correctional, with a category request of personnel $603,429, supplies at zero, services at zero, capital at zero, for a total budget of $603,429.
Second.
All right, what would you like to add on this?
Nothing necessary really to add. These are all personnel positions, and we utilized the gracious 3% proposed increase.
I would like to add that we have great employees, and they can see us, and we love them.
Hi out there. Okay, any other, it is to the end of the night. All right, any other questions? To my right? To my left, anybody? Oh, okay. You stumped us, and look at that, we are right on time. So that being said, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk.
Yes.
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Counselor Fidel.
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, well, we thank y'all for sticking around and standing beside us as we shuffled and did a two-step there. So we appreciate that. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks.
All right, and heck yeah. That concludes all of our departments for the evening, and come back tomorrow as the world turns for our other budget session. Tomorrow, September 4th, 2025 at 5 p.m., and we are in recess. Thank you.